Well, listeners, we have been playing the brand new single from God Dethroned on our show over the past few weeks, and you've been asking a lot of questions about the upcoming album of the same name. So we thought today we would actually get Henry from the band on the phone to chat a little bit about this brand new album that we are all eagerly anticipating. Welcome to the program, Henry.
Thanks for having me, man.
No worries at all. Now, mate, like I said, our listeners have been listening to this brand new single and they're wanting more and more. So I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about this album. What can your fans expect from this album? I've had a chance to take a listen to it, but in your own words, what would you like to say to the fans out there? What can they expect from this album?
Oh, well, I can say it's a very diverse album. And actually, the Judas Paradox was the second single, but the third single has also been released since last Friday, I think. The Hanged Man. So people can check out that song as well. But on the other hand, tomorrow, actually, it is already tomorrow for you guys. The album will be out.
Yes.
So everybody can hear the whole thing, and the album is very diverse. We recorded some songs that are fast and aggressive, some songs that are more mid-tempo based and melodic, and some songs that are more atmospheric. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. It's there's a little bit for everybody, so to speak.
Yeah, that was one of the things that hit me with this album as well, was that you never knew what you were going to get next. Like you said, it's very diverse. Was that something that you as a band all talked about before going into this album, or was it something that just happened organically?
It happened organically, but it's something we always do. First of all, we never want to repeat ourselves, so we don't work according to a blueprint or something. You know, every album will be completely different from the one before, and as diverse as possible.
Yeah.
So we will never do an album that's filled with blast beats only, or an album that's filled with mid-tempo songs only. We will always put in as much variation as we can, because that's how I like it myself, and that's how the band likes it.
Yep.
And also, you know, if you're like an old school fan and you want to hear the whole album from beginning to end, the order of the songs takes you through the journey of the album.
Yep.
Which makes it a very interesting to listen to, and then the variation is even more important, I think.
Yeah, one of the other things that, if you have listened to your band for a great deal of years as well, is that with every album, you guys seem to want to challenge yourselves. Like, you go out and do things that are, like you said, different, that haven't been on the albums before. Is that something that's been important to you as a band over the years, to keep evolving and to keep doing things differently with every album?
Yeah, that's a challenge. You know, to be able to play songs on a high level, to keep it interesting, to have some progression in the songwriting, to mature, so to speak. But it doesn't get easier, because this is the 13th album, and to come up with something we've never done before, and to compose 10 or 11 songs on a high level that are original, yeah, that's not so easy, but I think we did a pretty good job.
Definitely. So, as our listeners will have gathered from the album title and also some of the singles from this album, Judas plays a very, very big part of this album. Tell us a little bit about that side of the album. What was where did that decision come from to write from Judas's point of view and to write about Judas? Was it something that the band had been talking about for a long time?
No, not at all. It was just a thought that I was having, that you know, what was Judas actually a betrayer, or was he just a scapegoat? So I started doing some research about that, and then I found out that there's two stories in the Bible about Judas. Everybody knows the one story where he's the betrayer, and the other story in the Bible is about the fact that Jesus could look into the future, knew that he would be killed, to be able to return as king of the world, and he knew that Judas would be the chosen one to fulfill this plan. So this makes Judas innocent because he wasn't acting in free will.
Yep.
And I wrote the song from Judas' point of view. And it's not something I made up. It's something that's in the Bible. And I thought, oh, that's a cool topic to write a song about.
So what was that like, kind of putting yourself in Judas's shoes to write that track and to go there and do that further research? Because like you said, everybody knows the one story, but there's another side to the story as well. How did you find that as a songwriter, putting yourself in that position, but also then writing from that position?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Because I managed to find something again that nobody used as a topic.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any band who wrote about this from that point of view, and from knowing that there is a story and a second story in the Bible about Judas Iscariot. You know, as an example, we did 3 albums about World War One, 3 concept albums about World War One. We were the first band to do that.
Yep.
After that, there's many bands who, at least a couple more bands who use World War One as the main theme in their songs, but we were the first ones. And now again, we came up with something that nobody has done before, and that's great because like I said, we wanted to bring something new. And when I can find little gems like this, then that's beautiful.
So what else was influencing your songwriting on this album? For our listeners out there who haven't had a chance to listen to the album, what are some of the other themes that you touch on this album, and how did you find the songwriting experience on this album?
Oh, well, some of the themes are very, it's just fiction, like Red Kingdom, the first single from the album. It's about a guy who's trying to find the secrets of the Vatican, but he will never come out alive to be able to talk about it. Everybody knows the Vatican is filled with secrets that will never see the light of day, so I used that fact as a topic for the song. I also used some tarot cards as a subject of a song because, like I said, I tried to find things I haven't done before, so the Hanged Man is about the tarot card, the Hanged Man. Makes sense, I guess. And songs, Hubris Anorexia is about the confinement of the people who didn't want to get vaccinated during COVID, so they weren't allowed to go into public places or shops and stuff like that. So that's a little bit more personal. So it's the topics are all over the place, basically.
Yeah, and I think that again, that is another topic that people haven't wanted to discuss because we here in Australia, I don't know if you know about the lockdowns and everything that we had here in Australia, but it was some of the harshest in the world. But they also basically passed a law that said that if you weren't vaccinated, you couldn't work. So a lot of people who went unvaccinated during that time lost their jobs, they lost their livelihoods. But it's a topic that I find now that nobody wants to discuss. So the fact that you've written a song about that is something that I think a lot of people here in Australia are going to embrace because, like I said, nobody wants to talk about it here.
Yeah, well, I can tell you something about it. In every country, the government is trying to keep this under the carpet, if that's a correct way of saying it.
Yep.
Also here, you were an outcast if you wouldn't be vaccinated. If you refused to be vaccinated, you were an outcast. You weren't allowed to go out of your house. You weren't allowed to go to a public place or to a shop or whatever. If you asked questions about it, they would call you crazy or undermining the government and things like that. So I think it was terrible. This was not a good thing at all.
Yeah.
And then they promised us that it would be safe. But I can tell you from experience that I got very ill because of the vaccinations. I've been very ill for a year, and it took me another year to get back to myself a little bit.
Yep.
And, and there's like 3% of the people are sick because of the vaccinations.
Yep.
And that sounds like a low number, but that's a lot of people. So everybody in Australia who decided not to get vaccinated, they made a very wise decision, in my opinion.
Yep.
And they've been treated wrongly by the government.
Yep. Well,
And everybody's trying to hide it, but I think more and more people are realizing this, that what happened and how bad and how wrong it was.
yeah, I'm the same as you. After I had the second vaccination, I had heart problems after I had the second one. Like literally within 24 hours of having it, my heart raced to the point where I needed medication to slow my heart down. But then, because I couldn't have the third vaccination, because here they were like keeping track of how many you had, for I think it was about 6 or 7 months, I couldn't go to a restaurant. I couldn't go into shops that were checking vaccination statuses because I couldn't have that third one. And it's like, but it's not like I'm just not having it. I'm not having it for a medical reason. But yeah, that didn't seem to matter.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible. It's like you were a second-rate citizen or something.
Yeah.
Somebody who didn't matter, somebody who wasn't allowed to go somewhere. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah.
If you look back at it, it was so wrong. Everything about it was so wrong.
Yeah.
And to keep people inside, I think nobody would ever in their life accept it again.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that here in Holland, if they want to keep us at home again because of something else, some new pandemic, people will not do it anymore. Everybody is so fed up with it.
Yeah.
And in your country, it was even a lot worse because we saw it on the news that you guys couldn't do anything at all. It was terrible.
We weren't allowed to go any further than 5 kilometers from our house, and for a majority of that time, we were only allowed outside for 1 hour a day. So yeah, it was. Yeah, like you said, I think people look back at it now and go, I can't believe that happened. But like this world is full of injustice. Like we see it around us every single day. As a songwriter, do you find that something that you need to write about, these injustices that are happening around the world?
Sometimes. Well, normally I would never include personal stuff on a God Dethroned album, but this had such an impact on my life that I decided to write the song Hubris Anorexia about it. The song, if you can play the song, that would be awesome, because people can hear it and can feel the emotion in the song. And I wonder if people notice, what I'm speaking about in the song, and if they can hear in the music the anger and frustration.
Definitely.
So it would be great if you could play that song, because it is about basically being kept in prison until you accept to get an injection, what they call a vaccination, and they said it was safe, but it's not safe at all. So we've been lied to. We've been treated as second-hand citizens. I think it's terrible. I think nobody will ever accept it again.
Yeah, so we will grab that track and we will play that straight after this interview for you on our show. But I also wanted to talk to you as well about working with Tony Lindgren on this album. Of course, he's worked with some of the great bands over the years. What was it like working with Tony, and what did you feel that he brought to this album as well?
It was awesome working with him. I did a production of the album myself. I did a mix myself. I asked him if he would be interested in mastering it. He said, yeah, no problem, send over the stuff. So I did, and he sent me a message back that he really liked it, really liked the songs, really liked the production. So then he did his mastering and made a great album sound even better. That guy is so experienced. He's working in Fascination Street, which is the go-to studio in Europe at the moment. He's been working there for 15 years. He's done all the great bands. So he sent me the master back, and he said, oh man, I'm looking forward to working with you again in the future. So that was completely awesome.
Definitely. Now, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, but I had 2 quick questions I wanted to ask before we go. First of all, touring. Is there a chance that we might see God Dethroned in Australia at some stage in the not too distant future?
Well, we're hoping to be able to come over to Australia and New Zealand next year, 2025. It's not confirmed yet. It's in the works. We are investigating some possibilities. It's very expensive to go there.
Yep.
Because of all the flying, not only from here to your country, which is incredibly expensive, but then all the flights in between the shows and stuff like that. So I cannot make 100% promise, but we are working on it. So we would love to come over.
Well, we would love to have you here as well. And to finish off the interview, as you said, the album comes out today here. What would you like to say to people out there who are going to sit down today and take a listen to the Judas Paradox for the very first time?
I would like to say a few things. I would like to thank all the fans for sticking with us for all those years. And to the people who've never heard any of our songs, please check out the album. I think it's great. I think, you will love the songs if you take the time to listen to the album. There's a lot going on. It's a lot of variety. You won't be disappointed.